It's Wednesday, April 11th, 2018. Today is a pilot episode of our Food, Festivals, and Fine Wine podcast. And you can only hear this here at the It's Just Another Ordinary Joe Show daily podcast version. We don't pretend to be connoisseurs or expert on the subject of food. Every podcast that we publish here on the Ordinary Joe Show is an adventure that we trek along together with our viewers and our listeners so we can be fellow learners, fellow student with each other. This is something that Torontonians are passionate about. This summer, there's a number of food festivals that's about to happen here in Toronto, and we are going to open our pilot episode with a summary of all the food events that are going to happen just around the corner. So welcome to the show, and we hope that you will stick around and invite your friends. We are available on iTunes, Spreaker, and SoundCloud, and video version as well on Vimeo, YouTube, and Facebook videos. Thank you very much, and we will kick this off with a big bang. Please stick around. We will be back in about 45 seconds to our regular programming. To all our viewers on social media, Facebook, YouTube, and Vimeo, it would really be a big help if you guys can come and visit our iTunes channel. It's Just Another Ordinary Joe Show on your iTunes. On mobile, it's called Music, and on your laptop, it's called iTunes. Music and iTunes apps are all free to download from the Apple Store, both on your mobile and on your computer. Thank you for sticking around. Now we get back to our regular food and fine wines programming on It's Just Another Ordinary Joe Show Wednesday podcast. Welcome back. Welcome to our Wednesday podcast here at the It's Just Another Ordinary Joe Show app series. Wednesday is about food, fine wines, and festivals. We are truly a local podcasting station here in Toronto. Torontonians love their food culture. And one thing about this city is that since it is one of the largest multicultural city in terms of diversity, we have many countries represented here in this city. We have so many languages, hundreds of languages represented here in our community. It's a coming together. Toronto is an Indian name that actually literally means the gathering place. And so we have gathered here from many nations and from many cultures, from many languages. Therefore, we become a convergence not only of music culture, not only of artistic culture, but most importantly as well, food culture. Torontonians love their food. Torontonians love the diversity of food that you can enjoy all over the city. The access to a diversity of food from all over the world that have converged into this tiny, well, it's not that tiny, it's the fourth largest metropolis in the whole world. We will not allow ourselves here at the podcasting station to be behind celebrating the diversity of food. As we celebrate the diversity of people, as we celebrate the diversity and the coming together of people from all over the world, we are also not going to be behind celebrating the diversity of one of the most delicious and enjoyable pastime for human activity and human experience, and that is the enjoyment of food. Here at the podcasting station, we truly believe that we are fundamentally a local podcasting station that talks about local activities and local events. However, we do know that we have an international impact. But we will stick to the core of our mandate, which is to deliver relevant and timely information to our local community here in Toronto. But since we live in a very interconnected world, it doesn't necessarily mean that the contents, although directed towards the benefit of our local listeners, that it will not benefit our international followers as well. So here, recently in Toronto, we've been observing a sudden surge on food delivery business. It started off with Uber Eats. As everybody know, all over the world, probably by now, we know the car sharing company called Uber, and a London-based company just came in the city as well to compete with Uber, and that is Lyft with a Y, Lyft, Lyft, which is also a car sharing company. They claim to be technology company, so a long time conflict with the local taxi cab industry. But the same company who started Uber, who started the car sharing app and services, has forward integrated with the business space of food delivery as well. And that triggered a new surge on food delivery business using an app. So the only difference from the traditional food delivery business and what we see now on the streets is that food on bicycles delivered is now a little bit more high-tech because the use of apps. A lot of people are getting employment in the field of food delivery. You see them on their bikes, you see them on their motorcycles. Some of them would use cars, and many of them on bicycles. You will see them carrying this big temperature controlled boxes, or maybe I think it's called thermal boxes, and a big logo slapped on it that says Uber Eats. And a new big contender in the market, we see Foodorama. Not Foodorama. Okay, it'll come back to me. I forgot the name. I think it's called Foodora. Okay, Foodora. And there's one more actually. It will come back to me a little later on. Foodora is very visible because they have a pink theme. All these macho men on bicycles delivering food has to wear pink because that is their color. Anyways, not to be sexist about color, just pointing out the fact that it is pink. And so there's a surge of this bicycles on food on bicycles that you see zipping down up and down our Toronto streets, and it adds to the diversity and the celebration of food culture here in our city. Everywhere you go, you see all kinds of food from all over the world. We have Chinatown that boasts all kinds of Asian diversity of food. We have very delicious Korean food, Japanese food, Vietnamese food is very big. Vietnamese restaurants are very popular in Toronto. And also what they call Asian fusion restaurants are very, very popular in Toronto. A lot of Japanese restaurants and Korean restaurants are actually owned by the Chinese here in the city. And just talking about all of these different restaurants and different kinds of food, the diversity, I'm just thinking about one of my favorite Korean restaurants right now, and my favorite Korean dish is called woljingo, or kamjatang. And I have so many memories. Even just talking about it right now, it's making me feel so hungry, making me feel so happy actually as well. And that seems to be how food is affecting our psyche nowadays. So please stay tuned. When we come back, we will continue on our conversation about food and fine wines and festivals and the celebration of food culture in this beautiful city of gathering together. Please don't go away. We will be back in about 45 seconds from this point. For all our listeners on podcasting platforms, such as iTunes, Spreaker, and SoundCloud. May we invite you over and please follow and like our Facebook page, our Facebook group, and you can also subscribe on our YouTube channel and on our Vimeo. This will really help us to keep going with our daily podcast as we increase in numbers in our community and in our followers. We will be able to financially sustain our operation and therefore continue to give you quality programming and deliver quality information to your devices. We are also listener-centric programming. We are listener-supported, listener and viewer-supported programming, and we only create content and material that benefits our listeners and our viewers. We don't push products or services that only benefits our sponsors. And to be honest, we don't have any sponsors until we first want to get the support of our viewers and our listeners. Then eventually we will seek out sponsors to help us continue on with our operation. But again, only sponsors that will actually support the needs and the requirements of our followers, our listeners, and our viewers. So to be very honest, we will actually benefit a lot from all our listeners, our viewers, and followers if you would share our podcast on your timelines, on your social media. Share our iTunes and Spreaker and SoundCloud feeds. And in the coming episodes, we will be discussing our Patreon account, where you can support us directly so that we don't need to, as long as possible, we don't need to seek out sponsors and advertisers on our show. Thank you very much for listening, and now back to our regular programming. Welcome back. Thank you for sticking around. It's truly a stimulating thought to be talking about food, talking about beverages, and what's more stimulating than to combine both food, fine wines, and festivals. So as a kickoff to our pilot episode, we are going to talk about the food festivals that's happening in the city, and we are going to post on our website as well the calendar so that you guys will be able to plan ahead which food festivals, and not only in Toronto, the satellite towns, hour away, half an hour away, an hour away, 2 hours away from Toronto, have a lot of food events and food activities that I want to encourage all of you listeners to check it out. To experience Canada, to experience Ontario, you have to get out of the city. You have to get out of downtown core, because downtown core, the metropolis, is pretty much a conglomerate of many cultures. But to learn and feel and experience Canadian culture, you really have to get out of the downtown core. 2 hours away from here, you will see a lot of small towns that celebrate Canadiana, not only with their music, but also with their food and with their festivals and with their activities. A lot of these things that you see on television, where they have small town festivities, games, that involves, the kind of livelihood that they have, whether it be farming, whether it be fishing of any sort. You will see that the festival activities revolve around the culture, and it's a nice experience. You should check it out whenever you can. So before we continue, it's worth mentioning some of the events that's about to happen here in the city. The first one on my list is the Festival of Caribbean Food Made with Rum. This will be happening at the Ralph Thornton Community Center on Saturday, the 26th of May, 6 p.m. It's a little pricey, but to me, anything Caribbean is most likely, in my experience, anything Caribbean is worth it. It's worth it. This event is $70 per ticket, and let me read the description to you about this event. Again, this is happening on the 26th of May 2018, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's called Let the Spirits Move You, a festival of Caribbean food jacked with rum. The heading is Festival of Caribbean Food Made with Rum. VIP perks for the first 30 ticket buyers. You will receive an exclusive rum pairing session, sips and tips for the best rum food pairings, free special edition Jamaican Eats mag, including rum recipes. I don't know what's a mag, maybe a magazine? Free Jamaican Eats tote bag. Renowned chef Selwyn Richards, Art of Catering, serves up great food jacked with rum, from stuffed trini bakes to barbecue rum pulled jerk pork, baked spice rum plantain, rum cocktails, and more. The evening is a stirring testimony of the great taste of the islands. Now, I am not an endorser of alcoholic beverages, but for a full disclosure, I would tell you right away, I am a red wine drinker. I also drink some white wine, but mostly red, and mostly it's for the purpose of taking care of my heart, which was a recommendation from a medical doctor that I have discussed it with. Now, I'm not gonna be super spiritual against wine. However, I think anything pure alcohol like liquor is not anymore, and again, this is my opinion, and it's not my role to play here to impose on you what I believe, but I will share what I believe. I think liquor is not a beverage. I think liquor is a little bit too much of it's not part of dining and wining, in my opinion. Wine, red wines, white wines, fermenting grape juice is, for me, part of culinary arts. I don't know much about liquor, so I'm not gonna judge liquor drinkers. However, I don't see the benefit of making your food taste better when you pair it with liquor. But again, I'm not gonna judge. I'm just gonna express my opinion about it. Yeah, so I'm not gonna pass judgment and criticize one beverage over another just because they both contain alcohol ingredients or fermented ingredients in them. But I do have a lot of opinion about this matter, and like I said, I won't impose it upon my listeners and my readers and my followers, but I will share my thoughts, however. And when we come back, I will do exactly that. But not to take away from the list of food events, I still have about 5 more that I want to discuss with you. And this is just minor events. We haven't really touched on the major events just yet. Some events that are in the same alley as the Danforth Food Festival. That is something to talk about. The Danforth Food Festival happens in Greektown every year, and all the Rib Fest that's happening all over the place. There's so much more exciting food talk that we are going to touch on. When we return, don't go away. Stay with us. This is the pilot episode of Food, Fine Wine, and Festivals, only here at It's Just Another Ordinary Joe Show Wednesday podcast. Please don't go away. We will be back in about 45 seconds from this point. For all our listeners on podcasting platforms such as iTunes, Spreaker, and SoundCloud, may we invite you over and please follow and like our Facebook page, our Facebook group, and you can also subscribe on our YouTube channel and on our Vimeo. This will really help us to keep going with our daily podcast as we increase in numbers in our community and in our followers. We will be able to financially sustain our operation and therefore continue to give you quality programming and deliver quality information to your devices. We are also listener-centric programming. We are listener-supported, listener and viewer-supported programming, and we only create content and material that benefits our listeners and our viewers. We don't push products or services that only benefits our sponsors. And to be honest, we don't have any sponsors until we first want to get the support of our viewers and our listeners. Then eventually we will seek out sponsors to help us continue on with our operation. But again, only sponsors that will actually support the needs and the requirements of our followers, our listeners, and our viewers. So to be very honest, we will actually benefit a lot from all our listeners, our viewers, and followers if you would share our podcast on your timelines, on your social media. Share our iTunes and Spreaker and SoundCloud feeds. And in the coming episodes, we will be discussing our Patreon account, where you can support us directly so that we don't need to, as long as possible, we don't need to seek out sponsors and advertisers on our show. Thank you very much for listening, and now back to our regular programming. Welcome back, and to continue on with more events that's happening in the city. I had a little bit of too long of a break between those segments, so all of a sudden after dinner I feel a little sleepy. But you know how it goes. Many Filipinos are very much in love, and actually most Filipinos are shying away from the traditional, but I am stuck with it. Most Filipinos are in love, that the traditional ones like me, in love with our carbohydrates, our white rice, our Calrose rice. By the way, Calrose rice is the kind of rice you want to be buying from the store if you want to create sushi from home. That is the sushi grade rice that you want to use for your sushi cuts and even sashimis. And no sashimis, no, there's no rice on sashimi, but the other one, the cones. I forgot the terminology. But anyways, moving on to the next item on the list that we want to tell you about. Same day, May 26th, same day as what's the previous item on the list that I discussed regarding Festivals of the Caribbean, food made with rum. Oh yeah, before we continue on, we were talking about alcoholic beverages and my thoughts about liquor as I haven't because I'm not a liquor drinker, so I don't want to weigh in too much, and because I don't want to be judging liquor drinkers. On second thought, though, sometimes when I go to Japanese restaurants, and this is very rare, maybe I would do it about maybe 4 times a year, 3 times a year, especially in the winter time, I have sort of tried making it into a like a tradition, not a tradition, but if I have something to celebrate and I happen to be in a Japanese restaurant and I'm eating sashimis, and my wife cannot stand sashimis because it's just raw cutlets of fish, I would try and pair it with a sake. And sake, I am not sure if that can be considered in the family of wine or if that is liquor, because that is pure alcohol for my taste. And since we're doing full disclosure, I'm not a beer drinker, but I drink beer once in a while. And growing up in a Christian family, beer had been looked upon with a very negative. It is packaged as an evil drink growing up in a Christian family, but as you mature as a Christian, you realize that how could a beverage be evil? Now, having said that, a lot of accidents or fatality in motorized vehicle accidents is usually caused by drunk driving, by drunkenness, by alcoholic beverage. But at the same time, you can probably look at that same analogy and think about in the United States with the Second Amendment, how people exercise their Second Amendment rights and their right to bear arms to protect themselves. But having that kind of constitutional right for people, some people also think that that is the reason that there's a lot of gun violence in the United States. I'm not going to discuss my position on the subject matter, but I just want to use that as an analogy for enjoying beer beverages. Because is it the beer, is it the alcoholic drink that caused a motorized vehicle accident, or was it the person abusing the beverage? So in anything, you can drink moderately, you can use anything on its own. Like there is a scripture that says that the love of money is the root of all evil. And to understand what that means, it is not saying that money itself is evil, but the love of money is the root of all evil. And on our Monday Finance and Business podcast, those are the kind of things that I like to hone in and talk about. The evil that money can cause if you misuse it improperly. But use it is a tool, and if it's used properly, it can actually bring a lot of glory or peace in your household, and a lot of good experience for families, for children. If money is not a material thing to be concerned about, if it's something you sort of take for granted because it's a tool, it's not something that you worship, and it's there and it's available, and it's not something you struggle to work for, then money can be a blessing. So both ways, money can be a curse and money can be a blessing. So is beverages that are alcoholic or non-alcoholic. On its own, I don't know why. I don't think we can judge a beverage to be an evil beverage or a good beverage just because of alcohol. It is the person who uses or consumes alcohol. If it's abused, or if it's done or consumed properly or in moderation, the beverage itself is not evil. So please let this be a sort of pre-warn to all my Christian followers, the Christian listeners of this show, which I am very close and dear to. And on our Saturday podcast, when we talk about family, faith, and kids, I really go full throttle on and not shy away from the topic. So for the same reason, I will also not be shying away from discussing wines and alcoholic beverages as part of pairing with the discussion of food and culinary arts in this podcast. However, I will be very clear that I am not an endorser of alcoholic consumption. I don't endorse it, and at the same time, I don't label it as evil. I'm already clear with my position on liquor. I don't feel that liquor. I don't judge liquor drinkers, but I don't feel, in my mind, that liquor pairing with food is more. It's totally different for me. Totally different from pairing it with wine and beer beverages. So Toronto and Ontario, Canada, is full of craft beer brewers. And one of the things that we are passionate about here at the Ordinary Joe Show is promoting independent artists, independent, or what we coined as indiepreneurs. And craft beer brewers are part of that family. They are independent entrepreneurs who has the skill on the artistry or the craft of brewing beers. So we will not exclude them in the discussion. Now, to shift some gears a little bit here, because we're kind of running out of time on our half an hour allotment. We're going overdue, actually. We will try and kind of wind this down because we have so many Wednesdays that are coming up. It's actually pretty infinite. We have many Wednesdays when we can pick up on this topic and continue on again. So please don't miss our Wednesdays food, fine wines, and festivals podcasts. Will be right here. We won't go away. Again and again, every Wednesday we'll be right here to serve you. But before we close, let's give you more information about what's happening in the city in regards to the festival and the celebration of food culture. On the 26th of May, the same day as the Festival of the Caribbean Food Made with Rum, Chef Keze pop-up dinner fundraiser is happening on the same day. This one is a little less pricey. It's $47.83. I don't know where they got the 83 cents from. But this one is, it's a secret location. I wonder why. Well, I guess they ask you to buy the ticket, and on the ticket it says where it is. So it's a little mystical what this kind of... You can find this on Eventbrite, and I will also post the links on the website where to find this event. It's happening on 26th of May. Chef Keze pop-up dinner fundraiser. Taste of the Caribbean pop-up dinner will allow you to experience the nuances of the Caribbean as Chef Keze's menu inspired by the influence of Caribbean food. Another Caribbean. You can't go wrong with Caribbean food. Presented by way of a 5-course tasting menu, this exquisite collaborative is sure to delight you as you discover one of the many influences of Caribbean cuisine. Proceeds of the event will be donated to Autism Sprinter. Okay. So, unfortunately, it doesn't say the location, but I will. Please come to ordinaryjoeshow.ca to see the details of this event. Next one on the list is A Real Taste of Spain. A Real Taste of Spain with the chef and the dish. A Real Taste of Spain with the chef and the dish by Flight Center Canada. This is only $10. The description reads as, we warmly invite you to visit the new Flight Center Travel Lounge for this interactive World Food Lover event. Taste the real Spain with the chef and the dish and Spanish chef Ana Lopez Marin, proudly brought to you by Flight Center Canada. Interactive session making traditional tapa with the private coaching of chef Ana Lopez Marin, who will video conference into our event live from her kitchen in Spain. Oh, wow, this is interesting. A new setup, a new format. That I think I'll put this on my calendar. Get Spanish travel and food tips from Ana, owner of Fresh Cooking Spain, a top-rated culinary experience in the heart of Seville in Spain. Welcome glass of sangria. Enjoy imported meats and cheeses from Spain. Meet and greet with Flight Center travel specialists, exclusive offers, prize giveaways, and this is only $10. So check that out. It's 1 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time in Toronto, 425 King Street West. Check that out. Refund policy is you're going to have refunds up to 1 day before the event. Let's go to the next item on the list. Foodies of Color meetup. Let's check this out. Oh, another Caribbean kitchen. Well, Caribbean is the way to go when it comes to celebrating food. This is happening in Queen Street, 646 Queen Street West, happening on April 29th. It's on a Sunday. Sunday, April 29th, 646 Queen Street West, Foodies of Color Meetup. So this event is bringing together people of color in Toronto who spend their time blogging, photographing, and writing about the city's incredible food. Wow, check that out. That's a real food celebratory event. You know who you are, whether you're on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or your own website. You love the diversity of Toronto's food scene, and you're out there showcasing the best of it. Oh, this is speaking to us right here on our Wednesday Food and Fine Wines podcasting. This is us. This is for us. 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Sunday, April 29, 646 Queen Street West, Toronto. It's happening at Street Shack Caribbean Kitchen. Come join us to meet other like-minded folks who are just as obsessed with food as you are over a meal of delicious Caribbean food served up by Street Shack. The ticket price covers the cost of dinner. Vegetarian options are available. And the ticket price is $20. $20 by www.saltandsaffron.com and www.sixspots.com. Foodies of Color Meetup. I think this one is pretty interesting. Let me see if my wife is off that weekend. Maybe we can check this out together. Refunds up to 7 days before the event. Foodies of Color Meetup. Don't forget, go to ordinaryjoeshow.ca to check the details of this event. Last one on the list before we sign up for today is Pizza Battle. Pizza Battle. This one is happening on May 14th, and this is a free event. Yoo-hoo! The Chef Collective and Craft Canada presents Pizza Battle by the Chef Collective, Le Collectif des Chefs in French. The Chef Collective presents the next challenge, TCC Pizza Battle, sponsored by Kraft Heinz. 4 chefs and 4 bloggers are teaming up to master one of your favorite dishes. They will combine their skills and knowledge to compete in front of a live audience and a panel of brilliant culinary master judges. Get your tickets now, and the tickets are for free. And it's right here on Eventbrite. You can register for free. This is happening on Monday, May 14, 2018. May 14. Hold on a second. May 14, okay. 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Queen Margaretta Pizza. Oh, I know exactly where this is. This is right beside my wife's work at Toronto Western Hospital, right across the street. Queen Margarita Pizza, 772 Dundas Street West, Toronto. Doors open 6 p.m. Battle starts 7 p.m. sharp. FAQs. Are there ID or minimum age requirements to enter the event? Minimum age to attend event is 19 years of age. And how can I contact the organizer with any questions? Please direct questions to the chef.office@gmail.com. I hear the exit music already. Come on. Do we need tickets to attend the event? Yes, please print and present tickets at door along with name to attend. So, well, we're running out of time, but we'll close with this. There will be 10 more events that I haven't had the time to discuss here on our podcast today, but they will all be posted on a special page that we'll create for you foodie lovers out there on our website, ordinaryjoeshow.ca. All the details will be there. This last one that we read regarding the Chef Collective, the Pizza Battle. The email address to the organizer is thechefco.office@gmail.com. I think I might actually email this and request for a podcast interview with the chefs prior to the event, or any of the organizers or some of the participants there. So hit me up on any of our platforms, Facebook, YouTube, on our iTunes. I don't think you can comment on iTunes podcast, but I think you can do it on Spreaker and on SoundCloud. On the bottom of our YouTube post and on the bottom of our Facebook post for this episode, please drop me comments. And if I see a lot of comments there saying that you are going to attend, you are interested to attend any of these events that I discussed and I will be posting on the website, I will be there. I'll join you guys. So thank you for joining us today for another episode, or the pilot episode of our Food and Fine Wines podcast. See you again next week for another episode, and God bless you all. And check out all the other podcasts that we have during the week, which we will summarize before we close. God bless you, and see you again next week for another Food and Fine Wine podcast, only here at It's Just Another Ordinary Joe Show. God bless you all, and see you again next week.